Sancho finally finding his feet in Germany. Champions League quarter-finals. Where are Manchester United's wingers? How are they performing? Was it a mistake from Ten Hag? Personally, I still think Ten Hag was right in what he did with Jadon Sancho, but could we have handled it better? Could the punishment have been different, and could we have utilised Jadon Sancho and get him doing what he's doing for Dortmund right now? Because let's be honest, our front line really isn't doing that much, is it? We have updates on Scott McTominay possibly moving on again this summer. Also, updates on Dan Ashworth, Manchester United's finances as well. Plenty to talk about this morning, guys. This afternoon, lunchtime, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the show. We are live. Get your comments in live on these topics. Let me know what you think about everything we're talking about right now. Make sure you give the video a like. Subscribe to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. Welcome along, everyone. Comment when the video is finished as well, guys. Let me know what you feel, because some people don't get the chance to come on the live shows and then come back a little bit later and have their say, which is great. And I love that because it gives me a chance to go back and look at some of them comments and see where everyone is actually at. So I want to start with Jadon Sancho, obviously, because he is now playing well. The comments coming out from Dortmund are all positive. He's got player of the match last night as well, and he's into the last 8 of the Champions League. I'm sure he's enjoying life more than a lot of United players at the moment and scrutiny that they're under. Is it just the case that without Manchester United and everything that comes with United, players can perform better? Is it just the case that the pressure's off and we can move forward and I can just have that freedom to do whatever I want, play the game that I want to play? You only have to listen to what the manager of Dortmund was saying last night. 7 days ago, everyone asked me about when will he step back into his shape, into his form. When will he score? A lot of criticised last week, and we see that he's enjoying to be with us, to play and to be with the teammates on and off the pitch. Jadon is a player who needs to smile. If he's smiling, then he's going to shine on the pitch, and it's really important for us that he can perform like this. He did really well, especially in the last 2 games. A big impact on our game. I think tonight was his best performance since he's been back, and we know there's a lot more to come. Voice of experience in dealing with maybe players like Jadon Sancho. I mean, Dortmund have had the best out of Jadon Sancho in his whole career. We know that for certain. There are qualities there. We've all said there's qualities there. What we've got to ask is, it's like the balance between the heavy hand of Ten Hag and that soft soap Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approach is the issue we've got right now. It's like Ole was probably a little bit too much of a pushover, looking at it from the outside, and Ten Hag has just gone, no. The discipline off the pitch, is that more important than what's actually happening on the pitch? Or for Ten Hag, if he could have made something happen and Jadon could have been performing the way he's performing now for Dortmund, for United this season, we might have been better off there where he was. Or was it just a lost cause? Do you have to draw the line like Ten Hag did with these players in getting what they want? Dortmund are in a pretty simple situation for me. He's on loan. There's no commitment from them. If it goes wrong, he goes back. So they can sort of just throw everything at Jadon Sancho's feet, soft soap him, put the arm around him, make him feel better. But Manchester United cannot afford to do that. The pressure is bigger. The pressure at Manchester United for results isn't going to work when you've got players acting the way that Jadon Sancho was off the pitch. Now, I talked about on previous shows. Don't want to get into too much on Jadon Sancho and what happened at that time. You know, there's a lot of circumstances that haven't been brought up in the conversation. And I said maybe we'll hear from Jadon Sancho in the future and he can just clear everyone's minds and let us know exactly what his stance was on the situation. He took the tweet down eventually that was out there, which got him pretty much outed by Ten Hag. Let's say that. I think that was the final nail in the coffin. But also, he is now looking like he wants to turn a corner on the pitch. My issue with him was he wasn't doing it on the pitch and wasn't offering enough. When you look at it right now, again, you just have to say, like, what is it with that red shirt? Why has ANTONY, why has Sancho, why have all these players come in and just completely collapsed and not been able to perform for Manchester United? It's a difference between that and another club. It's night and day. It really is. Jadon Sancho took his time to get to grips with life at Dortmund again. And you could say it's the Bundesliga. He's tearing it up there. Well, I've just posed the question. It's like, well, no, this is the Champions League. And obviously, we would love to be in the Champions League, and Dortmund are in the last 8. Jadon Sancho has played a big part of that in the last 2 legs against PSV. So, yeah, you could say that it's not just the Bundesliga. He's playing at a higher level. And, well, Man United are completely out of Europe altogether. Borussia Dortmund are in the last 8 of the Champions League. So it kind of quashes the argument of the level of where these teams are playing at the moment. And to be honest, if United did go up against Borussia Dortmund, and I feel like they probably would beat us right now in the way that they're playing. We've seen how Dortmund handled Newcastle. They're no pushover. And I feel like Jadon Sancho right now is in a position where he's in a place where he wants to be. There are more stories coming out from the BBC saying that Dortmund will push on to keep Jadon Sancho next season. Now, we heard them stories the other day, maybe another loan, another season-long loan. I don't think United are in a financial position to be loaning players out again. I really don't think, if there is anything going to happen this summer, it needs to be a permanent sale of Jadon Sancho. I didn't really think there was many players in that Dortmund side that could come across to United and do a job. Some people may differ with that one. You just don't. Everyone's opinions are different on that Dortmund team and the standard of the Bundesliga and what they can do at United. Our record, like I said the other day, with players coming from Dortmund, is pretty poor, isn't it? It's shocking. No one's really done it. No one's cut the mustard, really, has there, when they've come from Dortmund to United. So, yeah, I look at it and I go, yeah, there is a freedom there. There's less pressure, and Jadon Sancho is thriving right now. He is in a position where he's loved by the club again. The fans are back on side. Some of the fans had turned on him a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and the manager was having to dig him out a little bit and defend him. But he's now in a position where he's happy. He's scoring goals consistently as well. Like 4 goal contributions in his 8 starts that he's had. He's had a couple of sub appearances as well, we know. But when you look at the games he started, he's done well in them. And a question has to come on to Ten Hag and what actually really happened. Could it have been kept in-house more by the football club? I'm not just going in on Ten Hag on this one. I'm going in on United and how things happen at the football club. It's like the Borussia Dortmund manager there is talking about Jadon Sancho being a problem, being upset with the fans falling out with him already. But somehow they have managed to deal with the situation and get Jadon Sancho playing football again. Now, we knew he was hauled off the other week. The fans were rating him poorly. The German media absolutely slaughtered him. But somehow Borussia Dortmund are able to handle the situation better than what Manchester United are. And they've come away from that with him now playing well and into the last 8 of the Champions League. And all the riches that brings as well. Contributions made by Jadon Sancho in that process as well. So, yeah, you look at it and you go, oh, is there any way that United could have handled this better? I don't know. I'm still with Ten Hag. I'm sick to death, like usual, of the prima donna players and how they act. I'm thinking they can get whatever they want. The performances on the pitch didn't really warrant him starting games anyway. I know you can get messed around by a manager. I know you can be put out of place by not being put in a team. And someone like Antony being played ahead of you is a bit of an insult, let's be honest. Jadon Sancho, in his 8 starts for Dortmund, has already doubled the output that Antony has all season for Manchester United. So when you look at it that way, you sort of can't disagree that Jadon Sancho could have done more of a job than Antony. But off the pitch, it clearly was a massive issue. You just hopes that Manchester United, the size of club that we are, we was able to keep this in-house and make this not an issue and deal with it. But no, again, the club fails, the fans, the club fails, everybody else. It's impossible for United to actually handle any situation like this without it getting out into the media. I understand there's that side of it, but really right now, I'm looking at it on the football side of things. Ten Hag could have done with a Jadon Sancho actually playing the way he is and creating things. He could have given us that bit more dynamism, but everything that's happened beforehand has just completely flattened everything that this season is going to finish with. The start of this season was a complete and utter disaster for Manchester United. It really was. And I think it has affected everything going forward this season towards the end and what the outcome is going to be, which ultimately looks like it's going to be Ten Hag losing his job. Welcome to the Members Club, Brian. Really appreciate that. General Foodie with that donation. Make sure you give General Foodie a thank you in the comment section as well, Brian, there. And to get into some of your comments, Ole and Ten Hag destroyed Sancho Bull, his attitude ruined his United career. He let the club and the fans down. Couldn't handle the pressure. Seriously overrated. Hey, Kafel, I know. That's where I was at, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm not sitting on the fence. I still have my thoughts and my opinion on Jadon Sancho. The Matic interview, again, was a prime example of that, when he was talking about how late Jadon Sancho was consistently. He was a serial late turner up at a training. That, for me, is just a no-go straight away. There's a problem there. There's a problem child there, isn't there, really, in Jadon Sancho with that. That alone, forget about what happened with the fallout. There's been a few players that have fallen out, and that part, you could probably blame Ten Hag, because there's a few of the players that have also had the issue. But then again, is it just the case that Ten Hag has come in, he's laid the law down, and the soft-soaped prima donnas have just not liked it and spat the dummies out? He's got, in 1 year, he's dealt with quite a lot. He's got through the first season. He's levelled everything out and set his stall out, and then he's wanted to move forward and set some new rules in the pre-season for this forthcoming term, and they've not liked it. And this has been the catalyst for what has been an absolute disaster of a season for Manchester United, simply because they didn't want to be put in line. The players didn't want to be told what is happening and what's going to go on going forward. They wanted their freedom. They wanted to do whatever they want. And it's just been put into a different perspective by Ten Hag. He has just drawn a line and said, no, this is how we start from here. We've got through the initial phasing in period. We're in now. This is how we're going to move forward from here. We need to make the next step from this point going forward. And it just looks like the players have just not been able to handle it, not been happy with certain things. And past that, if everyone's putting everything in and training hard and not kicking up a stink on social media like Jadon Sancho did, then all the fans are on his side. But the way that Ten Hag has done it, he's protected by the club. Jadon Sancho's gone out on his own. That was his big mistake. And it's made him look like an absolute idiot. It really has. And now it just looks like there's no coming back for him. So all we can do as United fans is talk like we're talking now, and looking at a player there that's actually in that Dortmund side, doing well into the last 8 of the Champions League, scoring goals, happy with a smile on his face, and go, what if? That's it. That's all we've got. It's a what if, innit, with Jadon Sancho for United fans. We're never going to know. There are qualities there that we're never going to see in a United shirt. But it's all down to how this club is managed, how the players have been given the freedom, and what this football club has created in these players, these monsters that I call them. Because it is the club's fault at the end of the day. The players are the ones that actually go out of line, fall out of line, and they're the ones that get punished for it. But it's simply because of the culture and what Manchester United is. We have wasted careers at Manchester United because we've not been able to handle the pressures that comes with some big ego names. Manchester United have always struggled with it. But Ten Hag has come in. He's given it the Sir Alex Ferguson factor. Well, give him that. He's definitely given it a go and told these players what for. And they've spat their dummies out big time. And this is where we're at right now. He's clinging on to players that he really needs to turn up for him. And a lot of them have been injured. And the other players coming in are either just not good enough, or they've just not been on board with what his directions are. I think Marcus Rashford is prime example. I'm still convinced the Rashford and Sancho situations are linked, and Rashford has just completely fallen out with Ten Hag. I'm convinced of that. I don't think anyone's going to change my mind. I'm still not convinced by Rashford's performances. If he was right behind the manager, he would be busting a gut every single game. That's what he would be doing. And he's not doing. So I look at it this way and I go, look, Marcus Rashford definitely has been affected by what is going on with Jadon Sancho. I think it all come to pass as soon as that interview after the game against Arsenal came in. And it's just got to a stage now where every single Man United fan is looking at this and going, well, Marcus Rashford, he's just as much to blame as Jadon Sancho in our poor form this season. They're both one of the same player. When they don't get what they want, they spit the dummy out. Some are punished for it, some are not. Rashford has just about held on because of his status at the football club, in my opinion. I think if you honestly asked Ten Hag how he would have liked to have dealt with that situation with Jadon Sancho, with Marcus Rashford, he would have got rid of him. He would have. He had a slow start and scored against PSV. Now he's world class. I wouldn't say he's world class, mate. I'm just saying he's showing a few qualities now that really United could be utilising with the way we're playing right now. He's saying he's better than ANTONY, and a blind man would be better than ANTONY. You finished at United by no one's having Jadon Sancho at all. That is totally fine, to be honest, guys. I'm with you on that one. I'm just saying, like, literally, this just shows how bad Manchester United is run and how the situations are not dealt with properly at this football club. Adam, no one will actually compare German league to the Premier League, so end of story. He's not ready for this league. Again, point taken, but that was the Champions League. Dortmund are in the last 8. United are out of Europe completely. You can't argue with what's in front of you, can you? I understand what you're saying. I think it is the hardest league in the world, the Premier League, and you're totally right. But right now we're looking at them being so far into Europe and Man United being completely out of Europe altogether. Could we have used Jadon Sancho if this situation was dealt with better? Great players are out there. We just can't spot them. Look at Palmer and Odegaard, 60 million for the pair of them, and we paid 82 million for Antony. Bozic, his teammates who trust the media. I don't know what that one's about. Patrick, end of the day, he'd rather perform for Dortmund fans than he does for Manchester United. Yeah, I mean, this is gone. It's a wasted career for me. It is. It really is. We're never going to know. And Jadon Sancho has made his bed. It's just really annoying that we don't get to see potential where other clubs do. And where all of this comes to a head is in the recruitment side of things. Like, why were we the only club not realising the issues with Jadon Sancho? Why were we the only one bidding stupid amounts of money to Borussia Dortmund? That's what it is. I think Jadon Sancho now he's just saying to United, sell me, get rid of me, make something happen with Dortmund. Dortmund are in a great position right now because Jadon Sancho and his team are just going to push as hard as they can to make this happen and get him to move to Dortmund. But United are going to end up losing out on this one again. Are you happy with just losing out to get rid of the player, or do we need to stand firm and actually get something decent out of this deal for Jadon Sancho and getting rid of him? That's the question now. I see other channels, chickens have come home to roost and karma happening. I don't know what you're on about there, Mike. Maybe. I don't know. Scott says, do you think Rashford is a good influence on the dressing room? Scott, honestly, I don't. I really don't. My personal opinion, and everyone will say, Adam, you're just going in on Marcus Rashford again there. No, I just don't think he is. I don't think he is that player that really inspires people. I mean, what he's done off the pitch, yeah, but in the dressing room, and I think a lot of players have fallen out with Rashford, or we're hearing that there's a lot of players that are not convinced by what's happened with the Belfast incident and everything that's gone on behind the scenes there. He seems to have lost his sort of stature, and I don't think there's many of the senior players that are really impressed with him there. But how can you be inspired by Marcus Rashford when you look at what he's done? That's how I look at it. I just feel like it's gone too far with him and he needs to be out of the club. Ramo, it's clear Ten Hag doesn't like ballers who can keep the ball and pass. He prefers athletes that run like a cross-country club. Ten Hag out. This is where it brings the other side of the argument in and people with Ten Hag and handling this situation. It's just an honest debate between where the blame really lies. I'm personally in on the prima donna Sancho is the main reason for this. He could have gone to Ten Hag and sorted this out, and he didn't. He chose not to and stand his ground. What happened behind the scenes, we will never know. We will never know. And that's where United fans are stuck. It's like all we know is what the club have said and what Erik Ten Hag has said. And that's it. We've not known what Jadon Sancho said. He's not even come out. I think when he does leave Manchester United officially and not just on loan, we may get more to this story and then we can probably judge. But by the time that happens, will Ten Hag even be there? That's what you're looking at. And a situation where Ten Hag is defending himself from another club, or he may not even be bothered about it. Adam, if Voldemort didn't say anything about Sancho, would Sancho have tweeted a response? Again, This is on Ten Hag and how he handled the situation with the press conference. And then Jadon Sancho's reacted to that. We all know what happened there. I don't want to talk about that too much. We've already put that all to bed. What I'm looking at here is that why are Dortmund able to get something out of Jadon Sancho but Manchester United can't? Is it just the quality of the league? Or is it just the case that Manchester United have found another player that looks good, but the recruitment is completely crap and we haven't done our homework in what this player is really like? On and off the pitch, I'm talking about there with Jadon Sancho. He clearly has issues that everyone has talked about. Dortmund have talked about. City have talked about. United. He's not in the England setup anymore. You've got to look at... I mean, he was a favourite for Southgate. And if you lose that status, then you really know you're in trouble. You do, because you know Southgate clings on to his favourites. So, yeah, for him to not be in that England setup as well now, it kind of says a lot as well, doesn't it? Had Erik Ten Hag followed the line Ronaldo had taken, he would be away better off by now. Despite the bitching and Ronaldo, he was professional. He was a professional footballer. I'm not going back to the Ronaldo side of things. I think that's been said and done. We screwed Sancho from the start when we bought back Ronaldo. Even Ollie regrets bringing Ronnie back. We could have played far better football without Ronnie. We could have played differently with Ronaldo. We got baited in again, and it comes down to Manchester United and their lack of professional organisation, is what you've got to say. Manchester United were baited into bringing in Ronaldo. Manchester United still, after not buying Sancho the first season, still came back in with no other club bidding for him. There must have been a red flag somewhere. There must have been a red flag and someone saying something, or an alarm bell going in the back of Manchester United's recruitment team saying, this is all right, we've actually got a free rein here. We can go and do what we want. We still ended up paying too much for him with no one else bidding for him. So again, all of what we're talking about comes down to what's going on behind the scenes. What was Murto doing? What was Matt Judge doing? What was everyone at Manchester United doing? The scouts, the recruitment team. It was a complete mess. And we got taken to the cleaners yet again. And this is what this proves. This is what this Sancho situation proves right now. It's like, look where he is. Look how he's playing. Look at what they're doing. Does that model fit Manchester United? You have to know absolutely everything about a player to make him come to United and make him work at United. It has to be proper research and recruitment. Otherwise, you get situations like this where everyone's laughing at the football club again, especially Borussia Dortmund, who have got a player there now who is their man of the match in the last 8 of the Champions League, and we're out of Europe completely. We're a laughing stock again. This is what needs to be cut out now. If anything, this is just the perfect example of Ineos moving forward and what United used to be like and what we need to avoid going forward. It's like, ding, ding, ding. This is what it was. Move past it and start changing the way we are. Because we cannot afford to have another 3 or 4 years rebuilding and staying where we are right now. We have to move forward. Otherwise, we're going to get completely left behind. We're going to be mid-table fodder. We can talk about all of the infrastructure and everything being great around the stadium and off the pitch. But unless that recruitment, and this is why it's taking so long, and I'm coming on Ashworth next, to bring Ashworth in and Ineos make sure that this team is bang on. They have got it 100% right priority-wise. Getting the players in is the most important thing in changing this playing squad. But it only works if you've got the right team behind that and running it. And why Ineos are taking so long to make sure that, like Sir Jim said, and this is where I'm completely in line with Ineos and what Sir Jim Radcliffe has said, you have to have the best in class to build the restructure. You can say it's a restructure every single year. I think we say that nearly every single summer. This is the biggest summer of Manchester United's history. It is the biggest. Well, this is the biggest, and there's no denying it because it's a completely new Manchester United. And why Ineos are making sure that people are in place to see this through is the most important part about everything going forward from this point. Situations that we're in now, and why we're talking about Sancho, this is a conversation in the video more about what the issues were at Manchester United and how this is not going to happen again. If it does, then we can all give up. We can. Because Ineos have to get it right. And I think they will. I really do think they will. On Ashworth and what is happening right now, there is an update coming out from the Newcastle side. Paul Mitchell has been shortlisted as a replacement, and they are now looking to move forward as quickly as possible with everything Dan Ashworth-wise and getting their replacements in play. They want to move forward, Newcastle, basically, is what is being reported. They need to start looking ahead, and it has been amicable. It has been said. It has been amicable between the two clubs, and Manchester United now are at a stage where negotiations and a fee for the compensation are getting closer. The big bosses at Newcastle and the main players are actually involved in this and trying to move this forward quicker. So we're hearing that if United did pay the compensation and it was agreed, then we could have Ashworth in for the summer. Past that, the next line was, someone was saying, was the 1st of September. So basically after the window, and really Ashworth not being able to have any instant effect on Manchester United. Because obviously the summer window is more important than the January one. And obviously he would be in place for the future in the January one. But I think Ineos need him in for the summer. They desperately need him in for the summer because it just helps us at this stage of where we're at right now. If Ineos' 3-year plan is to work, I feel that Ashworth has to be in this summer. That's where I'm at with that one. Could, woulda, shoulda, 3 years in, go and smile in Dortmund, you fraud, says Graham. It's coulda, woulda, shoulda, not could, woulda, shoulda, Graham. Come on now. You'd have corrected me, my man. I know you would. Ding, got one back on you there, mates. No, I'm only messing. But no, I totally get it, Graham. 100%. I'm with everyone's opinions on this. I'm not trying to say or convince anyone the other way that he's turned a corner or he is the player we should have. I'm just saying, look, could Manchester United have handled this without everyone knowing about it? And how much to blame has Ten Hag got in that? Because like someone just said then, he's come out and outed the player because of something that Sancho has done behind the scenes. If Jadon Sancho was dealt with behind the scenes, would it have been such a big deal and talking point? And something might have been able to, it might have been able to have been turned around. You just don't know. But when you deal with it the way you have dealt with it, and I think Ten Hag personally, and I'm still backing him with Jadon Sancho, he just didn't need to come out, I don't think. And people always say, look, Adam, it's because he was asked a question about Jadon Sancho. That's why he's answered it in a press conference. Well, no, that's wrong, because Ten Hag and Manchester United, no, actually, Manchester United informed the press before the Arsenal game that Ten Hag would address the Jadon Sancho situation after the game. So Ten Hag had preempted the whole interview. Ten Hag had set everything up, and then everyone went in on the questions afterwards. So it was deliberately done by Ten Hag. So Sancho must have done something behind the scenes to really piss Ten Hag off to get to that stage. But hey, that I feel, with the likes of Dan Ashworth and Ineos and everyone else in power, in situ at the club, will not happen again. I feel like that, in this situation now, is just a prime example of what not to do and where Manchester United need to move forward. Moving forward on the show, and Scott McTominay, guys. I want to get your opinions on Scott here, because Manchester United feel like, because of the season that he's had, his value has gone up. So I think there was a bid of around 30 million that was floating around in the media for Scott McTominay that West Ham paid, that West Ham made in the summer. Now, Manchester United feel like Scott McTominay's value is higher because of his performances this season. Guys, you tell me. Just drop some numbers in the chat. I've said that I would keep McTominay, and I don't think he will go. But if an offer comes in, then United will be open to it. I think they say this about a lot of players. The only problem is there's not many United players that are worth a lot of money. So I'm saying that genuinely as well. Like, I really don't think a lot of United players are worth a lot of money. You only have to look at the back line. You tell me, is there anyone in Manchester United's defence, barring Leacher, that's worth more than 40 million? Tell me now. I've sort of give you 2 questions to handle there. So forget the Scott McTominay value one. Let's just go through. No, actually, no. Spin it around. What's Scott McTominay worth? What would you accept for Scott this summer if the bid came in? 30 million, 30 million, 45 million, says Mike. I would agree Scott McTominay value has increased to 31 million from 30 million, says Malcolm. Cheers for the 100 likes, guys. Please keep liking the video, and also make sure you subscribe as well to the channel if you're tuning in for the first time. Obviously, download our SofaScore app as well. That is your QR code right in the bottom right-hand corner. Drop in the description below. The link is right at the top, guys. Click on it. It's free. It's the best football app out there for all your stats, player information, transfer news, injury news around all sports worldwide, international and club level. Get on it, guys. It is fantastic. And they are partners with us here on FUTV. It does help the channel, and we really appreciate you guys getting involved in it as well. 40 to 50 million, 40 to 45 million. Some decent bids in here. 25, 20. I would say the average was round about, what? For Scott McTominay to go, and we're looking at this, and I need to make this point clear. I don't think he will. But if a bid came in, what would that bid have to be for United? And think with United cap on, as in how United would accept a bid for Scott. What would that price be for United to be moved on Scott McTominay? What does it have to be? I personally think something upwards of 35 million would get Scott McTominay gone. Is anyone going to come in and spend that money? I mean, if Scott McTominay keeps starting games, then his value is going to go down. Because only United fans, I feel, know the frailties of Scott McTominay. He gets so much praise elsewhere, people looking in from the outside, when he plays for Scotland, everything like this. But again, are we in the same situation with Scott as we was with Jadon Sancho? Like, coming on off the bench and having an impact with no pressure on you. Because let's be honest, players who do get subbed on, they're not scrutinised, I don't feel, as much as the players that are on the pitch already. The ones that have started the game are the ones that are going to come under the serious criticism for anything going wrong in the game. Players coming on off the pitch, off the bench, I think don't get the criticism. So Scott's got off lightly with it this season, I feel. His goals and his impacts have definitely covered over a lot of cracks within his game. And I just feel like as long as we are using him as an impact sub, his value is going to go up. Personally, I've said this before, look, we cannot get rid of everyone. I feel like Scott McTominay has got a place at Manchester United on the bench as an impact sub. And right now, that is gold. It is gold. Because United do not have a plan B. And Scott McTominay, sometimes on his own, creates that plan B. We've seen it in so many games this season. And I think he's happy being there. It is so hard finding a player that is happy at a club playing the role that Scott McTominay is doing. He's not the best. He never will be a starter. But he will be a great impact sub for any team. If he goes to West Ham, I think, personally, I don't think he'll be bad. I don't think he's going to enhance his career anymore moving to West Ham. Just to get starting minutes, I think is the wrong decision for him at this stage of his career. If he was going to move, it was 3 years ago, and he could have really made an impact and moved on. At his age now and where he is in his career, I don't think he's going to get any better. And I think if he's happy where he is and doing what he's doing at the club, you keep him there. Because you're not going to be able to go out in the transfer market, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy right now, so you can clip it and do it everywhere you want, but you're not going to be able to go out in the transfer market and get someone better than Scott McTominay. Pause for what he does. And that's being happy on the wage he is, impacting games the way he does, without getting that guaranteed minutes. We all know what players are like these days, what agents are like, and how they negotiate everything for their players. Jude Bellingham wanting a certain amount of minutes when he was looking to move to United. Or United were trying to bring him in, and everyone else was after him. Dortmund promised him them minutes. You can't get that at United. But honestly, I feel like the Bellingham situation aside, like agents and the way that players are negotiated to clubs these days, the clubs don't really stand a chance. They're always going to end up bending over backwards for agents and their demands for players, because they know that if they want that player, someone else will come in and take him if they don't get him in. So, yeah, don't take it to heart in what I'm saying with Scott McTominay and not being able to find. You tell me and listen to what I'm saying with this right now. I'll say it again just so it's clear that you will not be able to go out in the transfer market and buy a player like McTominay that can do what he does. Because everyone that you buy is going to want to play games. Scott is vital to that plan B because we haven't got a plan B. He creates it on his own. Honestly, Ten Hag, for me, sends Scott McTominay on and just says to him, go and cause havoc. Just go and get in that box and do what you can. And you know what? Scott's happy at United. Of course he is. He's on peanuts compared to everyone else, so no one can pull him on that. All you can pull him on is he good enough to start games? And I think everyone would say no. Honestly, hand on heart, even Graham would say no on that one. I'm pretty certain he would. It said create a poll and I missed it. I missed which one it was. No, forget it. Sorry. Scott McOlly, says Stephanie. Adam, do you think Scotty would get in the England team? What are you on about, Roddy? No chance, mate. Not a chance he would get in the England team. Have you seen England's midfield? No, that is a silly question. I like it, though. Boxing straight top. McTominay, great in opposition box for me. Yeah, he causes havoc. He does. But he cannot start games. You cannot put Scott in midfield and expect him to do things that midfielders do. The one good thing that Ten Hag has got in his favour right now, and if he chooses to use it, it's up to him. But he has got an asset in Mason Mount there that can do what Scott McTominay is doing, but for 90 minutes. I'm not saying he can get in the box and head a goal or anything like that, but he's got an eye for goal. We know this. He can create more. He's got a better engine, I feel, than Scott McTominay has. And he's a lot more skillful than Scott and can play in them holes, in between the lines, doing what Scott can't do. But if you was to say to me, right now, say you've got Scott McTominay and Mason Mount sat on the bench. The game is going away from you. You've got 15 minutes to go. You need to get a goal to win, to maybe make top 4. Who would you bring on? Scott McTominay or Mason Mount? Scott McTominay. You would. And you know why you would. Because it's desperate. You've lost control of the game. And the game plan's gone. So what do you do? It's plan B. United haven't got that, like I said. But Scott McTominay is a perfect plan B player, isn't he? He really is. He will get you that goal. He's shown us this season last-minute goals that this guy has got and winners that he's got. Like, he's earned us more points than probably any other player single-handedly for winning goals this season. Like Barry Rasmus probably, but that's the impact that he's got. And you can't ignore that. You can't ignore that. You tell me, would you bring, like I said there, if you had the option, who would you bring on? And you tell me, you go and sell Scott McTominay now. That money needs to be spent on a player that's going to come right into that first team that gives us more options and we don't have to use a Scott McTominay off the bench. But I tell you what, you do not go and buy another squad player or whatever you want to call it, or a potential player for Scott McTominay. He's too valuable to do that. You can understand what I'm saying in it, guys, honestly. It's like, you see where I'm coming from, hopefully. I'm not bigging up Scott to be the best thing since sliced bread at all. I'm really not. He wouldn't get into any team in the top 10 for me in the starting lineup. He wouldn't. Honestly, hand on heart, I'm saying that. No, I think he is a bottom half of the Premier League type of player. I think he belongs at a Brentford, a Nottingham Forest, a Wolves, someone like that. I know Wolves are just in the top half, so don't pull me on that either. But you know what I mean? Mid-table lower. That's the type of player Scott is. If you're going to start him, that's where he belongs. For United, he is just that player that comes on and gets you that moment. That's what he is. And he is very impactful in that position. You cannot go out and buy that in the transfer market. That is worth its weight in gold, that type of player. Please give the video a like, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well if you tune in for the first time. We are back tomorrow at live outside. Andy Tate, building up to the Liverpool game. Well, guys, we've got loads of content. Andy is actually with me in Old Trafford. We are both together watching the game. Do you think we should do a match day vlog, me and Andy in the stadium, side by side, watching the game? You guys let us know. Is that gold on its own? Let me know, guys. That is coming this weekend. Honestly, it's going to be an epic one content-wise this weekend. No matter what the result is, either way, it's going to be absolutely mental. Let's put it that way. Mark Lambridge, he's been a member for 2 months and renewed. Mark, fantastic, thank you. Scott has the true United way, fight to the end. He does. And thankfully for us, he has done and got us some late goals at the same time. Spell autocorrect, Adam. Which bit, Graham? I don't know. You seem to be miles behind me, mate. But yeah, I know what them spell checks are like, Gray. I know. Fat fingers. I already got pulled by Kaz for the title. I had to readjust that as well. You don't realise. The thing about Scott, he always does his best for United. Can't replace Scott. His impact for 35 million. No pressure. And Leo for that first one. Graham, Boxing Straight Talk. 100% disrespect towards Scott McTominay is terrible. I hate it. What did Boxing Straight Talk say? Oh, it's miles away. Where's the message? Right. McTominay gets a bad rap. I actually feel sorry for him. He deserves our support. I think this season, more than ever, Scott McTominay's got a fair crack in terms of what he's received from the media, from the fans. I feel like it's been, for him, his best season in the United shirt. I agree with that. But I don't want people to forget about the frailties and how poor a performance he has had just because he scored some goals. Like, everyone talking up like Scott should be in the team. Scott should play as a striker. No, and no. United will go nowhere with that. At all. They won't get anywhere. He knows his lane and he's happy in it. Leave him there. That's all I'm saying. I need to move on. Anthony to Flamengo. United are going to struggle with everything going on. So basically what we're saying about Anthony is, we talked about it the other day. News came up that Anthony and the club would accept offers for Anthony. Well, there's going to be no offers for Anthony. We're going to end up loaning him out if we want to get rid of him. Obviously, the impending charges and the investigation going on off the field, who is going to spend money on that? No disrespect, but no one is going to spend the right money for Anthony on that one. I think we put that to bed, but there is an option for United to send him out on loan. Looking at Flamengo, as that was a bonus loanee period for the likes of Andreas Pereira as well in the past. Can he re-find himself over there and then come back? Anthony, for me, has to go in the summer. I do think Ten Hag is struggling to find a place for him. If Anthony doesn't have Ten Hag by his side, I don't think, honestly, that he would be anywhere near the United side. He really doesn't. Just checking through other news that's just come up right now. Yes. Yeah, one from the BBC has said before. BBC, Simon Stone saying Dortmund are looking to explore all possibilities to keep Jadon Sancho next season. Update on Ashworth. Like I said before, Newcastle want to speed up the Dan Ashworth exit to Manchester United, but are still demanding large compensation. Chief Executive Darren Eales has taken the lead role in these negotiations, which are believed to have been amicable. That's from Luke Edwards from The Telegraph. ESPN are reporting Mason Mount leaving Manchester United in the summer is the most likely outcome. United are expected to ask for around 40 million. And Johnny Evans apparently is injured again. We don't know more on that one yet. I've just been told that one now. So that's a bit of a shame. But El Slabhead is back, guys. He is. Harry Maguire back in the team this weekend alongside Rafael Varane. What you saying? What are you saying? That's what it'll be, hopefully. On Anthony, there's not much to say. There really isn't much to say on Anthony. It's a case of, well, who is it? Who is it? Sorry, Mason Greenwood, not Mason Mount. Sorry. Yep, Kaz has just reminded me. Regarding United looking to sell for 40 million. Mason Greenwood, not Mount. Make sure you get that out there. We're not looking to sell Mount. God, let's not go back on yesterday's content, shall we? About United looking to sell Mount and why he was actually brought to the club, not for football reasons. So Mason Greenwood, 40 million, too cheap for me. I think United, again, play a bit more hardball on that one, surely. You can definitely get more money for Mason Greenwood than that. Athletic Madrid are the ones that are in the front runners again. Now it keeps moving. It was Madrid, then it's Barca. Getafe came in for another bid. Now Athletic are back in. Honestly, don't know where he'll end up going, but I do believe he will end up staying in Spain. I think that's what it'll be. George says, McTominay is good at nothing besides headers. He has to be sold. There's millions of midfielders who we could buy who would make the team play better, even if it's off the bench, even if it's a bench option. No, disagree, George. Again, you're not going to find someone who's going to sit on the bench. If you're going to sell McTominay, and I'm agreeing with you on that, if you want to sell him, that's fine. But that money needs to go towards a player that's going to work in the first team. We're not buying bench players. I've said this before. You either keep McTominay or you sell him and then go out and get a midfielder that is going to be a definite starter for United. So if you said to me, Scott McTominay's gone, we sold him, 35 million, but that money's going to a João Neves or partly towards a João Neves, maybe with the sale of Mason Greenwood, for instance, that gives us the money to buy a João Neves, a player that is going to be a main fixture. Therefore, they're moving the players that are in the team now who are failing over to the potential side and the bench. That's what has to happen. Any signing of significance this summer has to be someone going right into the first team. Not on the bench, not a potential. Has to be guaranteed first team for me. That is a definite and a must. But I think that pretty much covers everything, guys, so far today. Please give the video a like. Let's see if we can get up to that 150 mark, guys, please. Thank you all for joining us this lunchtime, Thursday. Nearly there. Weekend's upon us, and we know what's coming this weekend. All the content is going to be leading that way. More Liverpool talk will be coming. We had to get through a few things and a few discussions today, though, and get up with all of the headlines. But yeah, that is it for now, guys. Thank you so much. Your comments have been absolutely brilliant today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you get them comments in on the video later when it drops. I'll try and answer all of the comments that you guys put up later on the video on YouTube as well, to make a point of that, because I wanted to get a lot of opinions on that. There were tricky subjects to discuss in Sancho and McTominay, because obviously they've split the fan base massively. So if you didn't get your chance to have your say on the live show, get your comment in on the video. Please give a like, and obviously make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you are tuning in for the first time. I'm Adam. This is Forever United TV, and we'll see you all later tonight. 6:30, guys. Have a good one, and stay safe.